Obviously, with any adaptation comes major changes, but I'm curious for you, what was the biggest change from the version percolating in your brain to the one we get on screen?
Oh, to the one on screen.
Yeah.
For me. You know what? It's such a good question because there's so many, because you're always kind of evolving with what you have. And you kind of, I don't think there was much. I actually think I was diverting the flow the whole way with the actors the whole time, every time I saw what they could do. I think I never had a fixed version in my brain until the very end. And, but it was, uh, yeah, you nailed it. You nailed it. It wasn't different from what I envisioned, really. So, yeah.
And how much did that stress your team out? No.
Unbelievably. They were stressed out at every turn along the way. Yeah.
What do you admire most about your character?
Admire about Teresa Bowers? Well, her sense of fealty, which is fierce and immutable. She raised this child, who was not her child, because she loved the father, who was incarcerated. These are not really particularly wonderful people, but they are deeply faithful to one another. So I fall in love with the kid falls in love with we make a deal. Let's do it together. Because if we do it apart, we will fail. I was in the Life once. Ving Rhames, who plays my lover, I think was the head of that Life. And he entrusts the kid to me. And it turns out that we are very well suited. So I don't know if you've seen anything.
I've seen the whole thing.
Then you know what happens. What happens is that it turns out that he would die for me and I would die for him. But it's all sotto voce. It's all very close to the vest. It's all very Delco. I mean, this is South Philly. These people are hardcore, hard scrabble, Teresa. But she has a big heart and she's capable of great decency.
Oh, gosh, I admire most her perseverance. I think that there are a lot of times that I might have given up if I were in the situation that she was in, and she keeps on going. Yeah.
Against the advice of
I admire her tenderness. I feel like Michelle is like, she's very strong, she's very good at her job, but she's not afraid to be soft and tender. Like, she doesn't take it as weakness. And I think a lot of people can learn from that.
It may not seem like it, but he really does care. There's a scene in Mina's trailer, Mina played by the great Marin Ireland, where he comes to check on her. Actually, there's 2 times he goes to her trailer, and each time it's to gather information, to give information, but he goes in with care, even though they're often at odds about how to pursue the case. I remember one line he says, despite your obsession, you passed your fitness for test. And he comes in saying congratulations, and she doesn't care. And another time he's like, I don't feel like you shared all of this with your therapist. Like, so there are various ways in which he really cares, even though he's so frustrated with her character.
Also that he's willing to brave that trailer.
Oh, yes. Oh,
It's
that's
admirable.
true. It's true. Actually, when I first went in there, my reaction was like, whoa. And I was like, oh, I'm going to remember that's Nader's first reaction. And also, I don't know if it played, but I remember I kind of was like, oh, like as if like the clothes hadn't been washed and the whole thing. Although it smelled fine. It was my acting that played the smell.
How do you define personal success now, and how's that changed from earlier in your life?
Gosh, I don't know any tips on how to define it, because I am looking for a better definition, I think. I think the bar keeps moving, things are confusing, and you inherited so many things throughout your life, and you're unpacking all of that over the years. I try to hold to some sense of like, am I doing good in the world? Am I making ends meet? Am I struggling or not struggling in terms of my general kind of health on a regular basis? But I think the idea of doing good in the world lately feels like the best measure. Do I have like the extra space in my life to be able to focus on some sense of service?
Personal success in my life, it's changed.
Yes.
I'm now a woman of a certain age. When I was young, and for many, many years, I was almost breathtakingly ambitious, one could say. It just overrode almost everything. Now I see that it is time to walk into this chapter with a certain grace and stillness and levity and love that lets go of all that stuff that defined personal success for me when I was young. You know, it's not about this so much as it is about this.
Wow, that's actually kind of a hard question, but I would say that I would call success really when you feel successful in yourself and in your body, when you truly are happy with who you are and where you are, rather than needing like external things to validate. That would be my definition of success right now.